It's our proud privilege at Opijindal Global University to welcome our friends, I must say, and colleagues from Montgomery College. We've had the opportunity to meet and engage and interact in the last few years, and it's wonderful to have you back again. Only difference that has happened is not so much our difference. We have a new government in power, we have a new Prime Minister, and a new set of ideas in relation to governance. So you are indeed in interesting times. Also the issue of the kind of work that the community college is doing has assumed new significance in the light of what the Prime Minister himself has set an agenda when it comes to skills development. So we are very delighted to host you here. I also would like to recognize the fact that you have a Global Humanities Institute, and we'll be very keen to hear more about that. And now our own Jindal Institute of Behavioral Studies, as well as our university, can further advance our collaborative endeavors. I just wanted to briefly welcome all of you and to also tell you at this stage of our institutional growth and development where we are. I think, Sanjay, you had visited us a couple of years back. We just celebrated our 5th anniversary last month, and we have grown both in terms of size and numbers, but also in terms of perspectives and contributions. Today we have 5 different schools in law, business, international affairs, public policy, and liberal arts and humanities. We have over 140 full-time faculty members. We have over 1,800 students. We have in the campus itself almost 100-acre fully residential campus now. We have graduated over 500 students across different schools. We've been able to advance our research agenda quite significantly. We've been able to grow and develop our Leadership Development and Executive Education Center Institute, which is now one of the premier institutions advancing that agenda. When I think a few years back we were beginning to establish, and now we have already successfully conducted over 30 different programs for the various aspects of the government in India, including for the Indian Administrative Service, the Indian Police Service, the Indian Revenue Service, the Indian Trade Service, the Armed Forces. Just most recently, we've secured a contract from the government of Afghanistan to train the senior civil servants of the government of Afghanistan. We are in negotiations with the government of Bangladesh to seek another opportunity. So there are these non-taught and non-research programs in the form of capacity development and training programs that the university is deeply engaged. Our research and scholarship and contributions have grown quite significantly. We are just now compiling our 5-yearly research report, and I note that over 500 publications have been produced by our faculty members, of which nearly 60% of them are international publications, over 55% of them are journal articles. Our faculty members are publishing in journals published out of Harvard, Yale, Columbia, Michigan, Cornell, Berkeley, Davis, Oxford, and Cambridge. There is a very strong research agenda that has been developed. So that's some sort of a briefing about what we have been doing. But we are very delighted that those conversations about what we can do with Montgomery College and what Dr. Sani has been doing in relation to helping and building capacity on skills development and the work of community colleges. In addition to that, I am very pleased to hear from Dr. Sani and Sanjay about the possibility of doing something together. Earlier it was more a visit in which we talk about the good things that you are doing and how you are inspiring Indian effort to build community colleges. But I'm very delighted that we both, as in Montgomery and Jindal, can jointly work towards building capacity as well as possibly research and other academic programs together with both institutions. Our international collaborative agenda has expanded quite significantly. Today we have presence around the world. We have collaborations with 75 plus universities in 25 countries, in which we have implemented 10 different forms of collaborations, including faculty exchanges, student exchanges, joint teaching, joint research, joint conferences, joint degrees, joint executive education programs, summer schools and winter schools, as well as study abroad programs. We are having this conversation at a time when there is huge appetite and interest among all our schools and students and faculty to advance our collaborative agenda. The only condition precedent for us is that each of those collaborative agendas should lead to some concrete benefit for our faculty, for our students, just as for your faculty and for your students. We are very excited about that. So I'll stop by saying that we are very delighted that we're welcoming friends back to our university. You have seen us grow in some ways. We have taken a lot of inspiration from the extraordinary work that your institution has been doing for very long. We are barely 5 years old, and 5 years is relatively a short time in the history of institutions. So we hope to learn from our mistakes and gain experiences and perspectives from the work that Montgomery and other institutions in your country have been doing. And I think it is fair to say that the institution is in an important juncture in which we are moving towards consolidation. We don't have any immediate plans to establish new schools. Our student numbers are by and large getting consolidated in terms of what we hope to achieve. In our full growth and development, we expect to have a little over 3,000 students in all our programs, and that's our numbers, and we will continue to maintain a 1:15 faculty-student ratio across different schools, and the smaller schools will have probably 1:10 faculty-student ratio. So once again, welcome. Dr. Sani, you're being listed as giving an inaugural address.
Good evening and welcome to OP Jindal Global University. As you know, I'm wearing two hats. I met you people in Raipur, and I represented Jindal Steel and Power Limited over there. And I'm very happy today to talk about this university. I don't know how many of you are fully aware about the higher education system in India, but the gross enrollment ratio is somewhere around 17 to 18, which is very low. Most of the universities and higher education institutes in India, they are run by the state government or the central government. But private universities are existing, but most of these universities are basically doing business. But OP Jindal Global University, what we have established, is basically because we know that there's not many universities which are into the top 200 or 300 in the world, that how this particular university, because this is not our business, is being sponsored by Jindal Steel and Power Limited. So, but we are very lucky. In fact, I didn't tell Professor Rajkumar, I was in one of the function 3-4 days back, and people were discussing about the establishing the higher education institutes in India. And somebody said that, if we want to learn about establishing the university, we should learn from OP Jindal Global University, and especially they took name of Professor Rajkumar. And then somebody said that this person has revolutionized the higher education private by establishing a private university in India. And I was so happy, and they were not aware that I'm from the university and I'm sitting there. So I felt so good that now, because after under his leadership, when we established this university, number of other corporate houses and industrial houses have already started establishing more universities. For example, HCL, which is one of the big industrial giants, they have established a Shiv Nadar University. There's a Wipro company, and they have established Azim Premji University, and there are many more which is coming up, which is Reliance is establishing another university, which is a good thing. But I'm glad that we are pioneer, and the credit which I want to tell you, the entire credit goes to Professor Rajkumar. This entire building, academic building, the student housing and the faculty housing, he could manage to construct in 5.5 months. 5.5 months. And we are 1,800 students, and we are very quality conscious. It's not that we cannot have more, and we have different programs. But anyway, I spoke to you almost for 40 minutes on that day. But the Jindal Institute of Behavioral Sciences is more or less, I don't know what Global Humanities Institute is doing. It's probably the name-wise, it seems that we are probably doing a similar kind of things. So, but university is 5-year-old, and Jindal Institute of Behavioral Sciences is only 5 months old. And we are not running any degree programs right now. Right now we are providing training to the students and to the teachers, and moreover we are providing the teaching support to the various schools of OP Jindal Global University. Number of research projects we are also is being undertaken, and we are looking forward your humanities faculty members to come here, work with us, work with our faculty, students, and so on, and whatever is in MOU. And we want to see, as Professor Rajkumar said that earlier we were talking, no, but we did work for our community colleges.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm glad when we met Chief Minister, and I told him, I said, the major problem in India is that there's a poor quality of instructors. I said, you can buy machines, you can have infrastructure, but you know how to. So then I'm glad that on my request to the Chief Minister, he immediately said it's such a valid point that let's sign a contract with Montgomery College and let their instructors come and train our instructors, and they can further train the trainers program we can start. So I'm very happy with your presence. As Raj said that you are all our friends, and I've been meeting them from last 8 years, and it's a wonderful experience. And I, in fact, visit them almost every summers. And
Please.
hello, hello, hello.
Go.
Kursi, kursi. I want you to be there next week. And I remember I was there, and I got a lot of support, and they have trained our instructors also. And I'm looking forward for more collaborations and more exchange programs so that we all can be benefited on this. I'm not talking about equal footing, right? You remember that? There's a gentleman talking about equal footing,
Yes.
but we are here to learn, okay?
That was something else.
Yeah, thank you. So,
Let me just quickly welcome our guests who just turned up. Thank you very much, and let me profoundly apologize for the delay that has taken for you to come to our campus. We always pride in the fact that, and actually many a time it does happen that it takes less than an hour to come, and I'm not exaggerating, it does happen, but today it seems that you've had a very bad experience, and in the future I should ask Naveen to lend us a helicopter so that you can be brought straight into the campus without going through this traffic situation. But thank you for joining us here. I had briefly introduced the university, which I'm not going to do it again, but I just want to mention that we have a very good friendship with Montgomery College, born out of a historical endeavor on the part of Montgomery College to help India and to contribute to the skills development within India. I will mention that one of our very good friends is right now the advisor to the ministry relating to skills development, and if you have not already done, you should definitely meet this man by name Pavan Verma. Pavan Verma used to be in the Planning Commission, and he's mandated with the skills development. He has Pavan Agarwal, Pavan Agarwal, and he used to be with the Planning Commission focusing on higher education, and now he's moved into this ministry and is mandated with skills. I'll be happy to set up a meeting for you with Pavan. As I said, he's a very dear friend, he's been here before, and somebody who is now mandated with this task. And lastly, I will say that, I don't know what your experiences have been, and Sanjay is a very determined person. He's engaging with India in a steadfast manner. I always tell our faculty members when we do our recruitment, but particularly for faculty members from around the world, that India is not for the weak-hearted. And so, there is a certain degree of laboriousness, there is a certain degree of, steadfastness that is needed to do anything in India. You have to be continuously obsessed to do anything here. But then the good thing is, 800 million people in India are less than 35 years of age. When good part of the Western world and to some extent the Eastern world become old, India will remain younger. And so the impact of whatever you do in India is not only going to be profoundly significant for India, but also significant for the world at large. And so that is something which I think we all want to keep in mind as we go through the challenges and difficulties of engaging with the Indian bureaucracy, Indian political establishment, and all the trials and tribulations that you all face when you begin to build collaborative endeavors. So, thank you. Now I call upon our distinguished Dr. Pollard, President of Montgomery College, to deliver what is being mentioned as a special address.
Well, I wanted to do an inaugural address. I don't understand how Dr. Sahani gets to do an inaugural address, and I just get to do a special address. But thank you so much again for the hospitality. It is delightful to be back at Obijinga University. This is the second visit for many members of our team, and then the first visit for others. Before I get started, I'd love to take a moment to introduce some of the people who are at the table who we brought with us. We are most delighted to have with us our county executive, Mr. Ike Leggett. One of the things that we know about him, not only is he deeply invested in Montgomery College through the resources that he appropriates to us as an institution, but he has a deep fondness for education, having been for a good part of his career a law professor at Howard University. So I know every once in a while when I have a conversation with him about the role of faculty and understanding some cultural issues in academia, he is always able to respond in a way that makes a deep understanding. So thank you. It means a lot to us, Mr. Leggett, that you be here today for this. We also have a member of our Board of Trustees here with us, Dr. Leslie Levine. He's been on our Board of Trustees now for almost 6 years, coming to the near of 6 years, and has been a wonderful reminder of how our mission has to be actualized in the lives of students, and he reminds us of that each and every day, so we're delighted to have him here as well. A couple other members, I don't think I need to introduce Sanjay Rai. I have a sneaking suspicion that most people in this room know him and know him well. In fact, we've come to say in India that either you are a friend of Sanjay or you are not yet a friend of Sanjay. So for those of you who don't know Sanjay Rai, he is our Chief Academic Officer, Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs at Montgomery College, and has done outstanding work in the year. Not even quite, it's been a year that he's been in that role. Delighted to have him there. I guess it'll be a year this month, now I think about it. Also, right here to my right is Carol Ronrud. She's the Executive Director of our foundation. A large part of our mission at Montgomery College is to raise resources and to provide access to higher education for those who would traditionally not be able to attend, and she does an outstanding job at going out to recruit philanthropy for our students, so we're delighted that she was able to join us on this trip. Immediately to this side of her is Amy Rozak. Amy is our Director of Access at Montgomery College, and her job, very simply, is to go out and help students navigate the enrollment processes of Montgomery College and to be successful. She has a team of about 25 people who are responsible for recruitment, going out and engagement in the high schools. I understand she was actually out doing that here in India yesterday with a colleague right behind me, Marlon. Marlon is our Director of International Student Coordinator of International Students, and does a wonderful job of responding to the student needs that are at Montgomery College of international students. Those of you who don't know, Montgomery College has about 60,000 students on 3 campuses and 2 educational centers. We have approximately, depending on when you count, 160 different countries represented in our institution, one of the most diverse community colleges in the country, and we celebrate that. And we have a number of international students that Marlene's office is responsible for managing. You'll also see at the head of the table, Miss Margaret Latimer. She's the provost of our Germantown campus, but also a vice president who's responsible for STEM at Montgomery College, and does an outstanding job at a really challenging institution differently about the work that we do in that area. Rita Kronitis, you all will get to hear from her momentarily, and I will allow her to speak, and I won't give her a big introduction. It's just simply to say she's an outstanding and gifted faculty member who has a passion for the humanities that you will soon hear from momentarily. This is the Montgomery College team, and we also have 2 folks in the room with us, Lily and Sunny, who work in the county executive's office. Sunny is a native of Delhi and was born there, but is also the person responsible for all of IT in the county. So we are delighted to have him. And Lily, as I like to say, is just a queen of the day. She is Director of Special Projects and does outstanding work on behalf of the county executive. So that is indeed the delegation. I think I hit everybody who's here with us right now. I won't belabor talking too much. Those of you who don't know, Montgomery College is an institution, is a 2-year community college to serve students in Maryland, right outside of Washington, D.C. We are the largest undergraduate institution in the state of Maryland, surpassing University of Maryland College Park. My dear friend, Dr. Lowe, who's the president there, I go back and forth about that, but we know for a fact that we do powerful work in the community. Those of you who are familiar with community colleges, though, will know that we are not your typical community college. We're an institution that has been recognized nationally for the work that we do in helping to produce students to move toward completion, but also more importantly, having a diversity of programs that our students and faculty are able to engage in. We're here, I think today, very excitedly to sign an MOU regarding our Global Humanities Institute. Unlike many of our colleagues who do this work as presidents of institution, I started my career as an English faculty member. So I have a deep appreciation for what the humanities do. And a very central source of what I believe to be most deeply is that the humanities teach us about who we are. They speak to the human condition. If we're very lucky, they can provoke us. The humanities can make us learn about who we are. They can incite us, they can empower us, they can anger us. And if we're very, very lucky, they'll teach us something more deeply about who we are. And that is why we are so excited to be a premier institution with this Global Humanities Institute under the leadership of Professor Krinides. I'm excited about the fact that we will have faculty and students who will benefit from this opportunity. And as you mentioned earlier, we have, for the last several years, been thinking about what can we do together. This, I think, can be groundbreaking. So I'm excited to be here, and on behalf of our delegation, we are looking forward to what the future provides for us, but more importantly, making a statement about global humanities. And with that, I think next in the program would be Dr. Krinides, so I will not try to steal her thunder because she does not need me to do that.
Before that, may I request Sanjay to say a few words?
Certainly.
Yes.
You need this mic?
We're recording. It's good.
Okay.
We'll have tea or coffee.
It's being recorded, so I have to be very, very careful. But again, once again, thank you for the opportunity and to work again on another wonderful and I think bold initiative with our Global Humanities Institute. As Professor Rajkumar said, India is not for weak-hearted. I think India is for folks who have strong soul. That's what is needed to move forward. In my case, I left India several years ago, and I was somewhat very pessimistic about anything happening in India. But it was one winter, cold day in Rockville, Maryland, and in my office I get a call. There's a young member of parliament from India who wants to visit Montgomery College, and he's here. And it was late December, almost no one was there on campus, and I just happened to be there that day. So I ran to Orbitowski Institute and I met a man named Naveen Jindal. And that changed my perspective about India. So I think everything that you see happening here is his inspiration, not just the financial support and resources that he provides, but I think the leadership and encouragement that comes from Mr. Jindal is unparalleled, unseen anywhere else, at least from my point of view. Now, this is not a 5-year-old university, it's a 5-year young university that has done the work of 100 years. I think the most institutions will have to catch up in doing this. My associations with the university centered certainly after Mr. Jindal met with me. He gave me a name and telephone number and said, you worked with this person. And that name was Dr. Sanjeev Sahani and his phone number. And since then, I haven't lost that number. So we were talking about community colleges and Mr. Jindal's interest in this. And suddenly, he mentioned that we are starting a law university. I said, why suddenly a law university now? We thought we were doing this. And in the last 4 or 5 years, it has become very clear why this university was established. And Dr. Sahni kept telling me, we are getting this new vice chancellor. He's so dynamic that he's going to change, he's going to establish this university. and he is going to put us on the world map, and I have seen that happening under the leadership of Professor Raj Kumar and his strong direction and work of Dr. Sanjeev Sahani in this manner. Everything I want to do as Chief Academic Officer with respect to our curriculum at Montgomery College, globalization is important. For community college students is even more important. I think in this global world, America's competitiveness is very important, and it cannot happen if our schools don't get global perspective in their education. So our efforts in Global Humanities Institute is to infuse globalization across our curriculum. And we are here to learn from OP Jindal Global University. There cannot be a better place than OP Jindal Global University for learning globalization. And everything I want to do, somehow I see that these people have done that. We wanted to create a more meaningful mathematics course for our students. And I was doing a web search, and where did I land? I land at a course at Jindal Global University. They're teaching a much more meaningful mathematics course in their liberal arts curriculum. So again, there are things that we can learn and work together. And I'm absolutely delighted to introduce Director of our Global Humanities Institute, Dr. Rita Karnaitis.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
So I had a PowerPoint, but it's not going to happen. So I scribbled down some notes. Excuse me if I'm scattered. Oops, yeah. So it's my great pleasure to direct the Global Humanities Institute at Montgomery College. Montgomery College is a very special place because our student population is so very diverse. On my campus, the Tacoma Park campus, the majority of my students, our students, are African, West African, Ethiopian, Latino from Central America. Throughout the college, we see diversity left and right. The Global Humanities Institute helps to prepare faculty, staff, and students to appreciate that diversity in a very deep way. Not only what's right at our door, but what's beyond as well. To learn about the countries that our students come from, to make spaces in our classroom where we can appreciate the differences, the precious differences that they bring to us. We are involved, ours is a 6-year grant, and this grant, we're in our 3rd year right now. We train faculty through fellowships to modify their courses, to create new assignments, to create collaborative tasks, research tasks, all sorts of things that have to do with the global experience. We are training about 20 faculty every year, and we'll continue to do so in year-long fellowships. We have created new courses. We have a course in Hindi, 2 courses in Hindi now, and an Introduction to Global Humanities course that we didn't have before. We are also very invested in doing a lot of public education about global humanities. And what that means is a series of events, expert speakers, in-house experts, student presentations, all sorts of activities, film series that broaden the scope of our work and broaden our knowledge to put the focus on global issues, issues that affect the world and not just us. So we have come a long way in the 2.5 years that the Institute has been in existence. The National Endowment for the Humanities tells us that we are far ahead of the other colleges who got the same grant. And I'm proud of the work that my colleagues and I have been able to do so far. A key priority for the Global Humanities Institute is to provide really important learning opportunities by bonding and connecting with institutions abroad. So I'm very happy to be here to welcome you to the Global Humanities Institute family. We have a partnership with the University of El Salvador, a partnership with Xi'an University in China, and now with Jindal Global University. We hope to show our students firsthand what it means to be a global citizen, because that's part of what we're teaching. I admire your commitment to service. I admire your venture into the humanities and liberal arts. I think that they're intelligent decisions, and I think that everyone, including we at Montgomery College, will benefit from it. I think that I'm going to stop there. I look forward to not only bringing our faculty here in a couple of years to have colloquia with the faculty here, the remarkable faculty you have here. So I'm very excited about that. But I also want to see what else we can do together. Our agenda is set by our partners to a large extent. So I look forward to future possibilities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I call upon Professor Kathleen Modrowski, the Dean of the Liberal Arts, Jindal School of Liberal Arts and Humanities, to say a few words?
Welcome, everyone. This is a wonderful surprise. I knew you were coming, but I didn't realize until I looked at your website how much we have in common, really. We have enormous points of intersection, and I think that, you know, what you can bring to us and what we can bring to you is absolutely complementary. I think the collaboration amongst faculty will be exceptional, because learning different methods of pedagogy will be very important for us. And you'll be able to learn from us more about education in India, which as a newcomer here is really fascinating for me. It's very interesting. And when you learn about education in India, you get to know a little bit more about the country, how it works, how people think, and how decisions are made. When you said looking at new horizons of what we can do in collaboration, the first thing I think after having faculty exchanges is students. I would love to see your students coming here. I'd love to see our students coming to Maryland and that area as well. I mean, you know, you have such an interesting area really spreading out from DC, but also going into Maryland to places that people ordinarily don't think about. So already I find this really inspiring, and I know we're going to have time to talk about it later. So welcome and thank you.
Thank you. I just have to say, I couldn't help but make this remark that when we were conceiving the Jindal School of Liberal Arts and Humanities, our vision was to see how do we establish a transnational humanities school. And that was part of the vision from the very beginning. Because humanities as a broad set of areas is prevailing across the country. You know, there are these undergraduate courses in India which are on history, political science, literature, and all of that. So if you see the byline of our school, you will see that our mission, our vision is to position ourselves as India's first transnational humanities school. And I remember at the launch of the school, there were questions asked about what is the transnational, and some of the documents I have given you, including the vision paper that has been shared with you, talks about the transnational humanities framework on the basis of which this school functions. So I'm very excited about the possibility of doing things together. If there is anybody else who want to say anything, otherwise I would like to invite our distinguished county executive to give his remarks, and we can hand over the mic to him.
First of all, thank you for the opportunity to just give just a few remarks. Let me first of all start by saying that I am deeply appreciative of our Montgomery College. It is such an integral part of our university system in the state of Maryland, and it provides us with a number of things that I think that are important. First of all, an outstanding university institutional setup through the University of Maryland, which Montgomery College plays a central part. A significant part of the students that ultimately go to the University of Maryland at least start at Montgomery College. Secondly, we are concerned from the non-academic side of workforce. They provide an excellent entree for those who are seeking to expand, to build, to grow the workforce in a way that I think is important. And thirdly, it is a source of pride for us. When I hear people talk about Montgomery College, hear them talk about some of the institutions that are there, rarely do they not mention Montgomery College. So to the degree that you are finding it important to collaborate, to work with, I want to stand firm that it is a very wise decision. I hope that you can find areas in which to continue to expand that. I think there are great opportunities, and if you continue that path, I think that we'll achieve much of the objectives that you've outlined in your mission statement. I was immensely proud when I walked in here for another reason. Just thinking about the globalization of gender. When I looked at the person actually providing the assistance and service today, I looked on the shoulder and I saw Sodexo. I said, that's a Montgomery County corporation.
Head office.
So in any event, I'm immensely proud that I'm here to be a part of this, but basically to stand in support of what they're doing, to let you know that our county government and the elected officials in Montgomery County throughout the state really believe in this institution, and we are fully supportive of their programs and services.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we'll have a MOU signing ceremony.
Yes, sure.
Because there was a little concern because the MOU which you sent talks about that this would start beyond 2018. So we changed it to 2016 now. Is that okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what was my understanding.